You know those unraveling edges? You need to do something about them when you plan on making an item that is going to be washed. Otherwise, things are going to just turn into a stringy mess. So we're going to show you how the overlock stitches are selected and how do you know which foot to use and which stitch to use for which fabric. So we are going to use a little bit of the sewing advisor because that will help you understand which stitches you're actually picking. So this is going to be, let's say that was a woven medium fabric, fabric B, and your technique number 2 will be an overcast. Look, the foot J is the one that's being recommended. So when you pull J out, you're going to notice it only has one toe, and right even with this toe is a pin. That pin is going to be guided right along the edge of the fabric. Have you ever just stitched like a little zigzag over the edge and then that edge just curls and it's not flat? And that's because you're just using a regular presser foot. Now, how do you know where to guide this? I like to use the presser foot down button, touch it once and touch it a second time. The second time allows that foot to kind of pop up and hover, and then I can move that fabric right to where I need it to sew. Now, why would I use this option if I have a serger? Well, sometimes the serger might have black thread on it and I need to be working on something of a light color, and I might only need to overlock a short distance. Super fast, just put the foot on, pick the stitch, it will do it for you. And here, let's just look and see how it's going. This particular stitch is kind of like a multiple point zigzag, and it's just going to run down the fabric for you. Now, when you go ahead and do your selective thread cutter, if you still have, actually that should cut it, but that little pin sometimes holds the last stitch, so just pull straight back before you pull it out. Look at that, super easy, no threads are going to come out, and it lays completely flat because that stitch hasn't rolled this since it was only a single layer that we were using. Now, if this fabric was something else, maybe a stretch fabric, it would sometimes change the stitch or change the foot that's being recommended. Notice the size of the stitches are changing as I pick different fabrics. Most of them are picking that same stitch, but as I go to the stretchier fabrics, one thing you're not seeing that is changing is how much pressure this foot is going to have when it comes down and sits on the fabric. With stretchier fabrics, it's going to come down a lighter. It's just going to glide across it, so not to give you that wavy edge before you even start to sew what you're working on. So use the sewing advisor. It's super easy. It'll tell you what needle to use. You're using your fabric choice on top and technique number 2 as overcast.